No feedback this time.
Well, I do have some outside feedback.
Ooh.
I'll take it.
Do share.
Jaime, who was a person I have met and shaken hands with,
right?
That works over at Makers Union, did check out our podcast.
Oh, yeah?
And said that he loved it. He said we had a good flow. He loved how you were incorporating music in between for the artists and the sound effects and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And he thought that the way that we all kind of work together conversationally
That's great.
Is good.
Yeah.
That's nice to hear that feedback.
Yeah.
Timmy has some feedback, too.
Yeah, my brother listens to it on the regular. He does. And he said he loves the way that Bacon produces it. It sounds great. Yeah, I know. Touch you twice. Well done, Bacon. And he also said that for the right price, he could provide Bacon, since he enjoyed the last episode with the show choir. Mm-hmm. He has video.
Oh my gosh.
And he said for the right price, maybe an invite onto the podcast would be the right price. He would give Bacon the video.
Is it on a beta tape?
I have no idea. I said, I had no idea you had the video, you creep. Like, what are you doing with that? And he has, apparently he has the video. So Bacon got all excited when I told him.
Very excited.
And he's going to reach out to my brother and have him on.
Let's do it.
Yeah. That's going to be the best episode ever.
Chris shows up, and then we're like, just give us a video. And you can head out.
And lock the door on your way out.
Yeah.
Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah.
This is PODCASTNV. Well, we are very excited today because we have a special guest. He's the guitarist for Soho Down. Please welcome Eric Shaw.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Hey, man, thanks very much for being here. We appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So I've known Eric for probably 15 years now, something like that.
Quit bragging.
I think it's
more than that. It is
way more than that.
Oh, my gosh. That's right. Do you think of your kids' ages and you're like, wait a minute, there's more time in there.
Way more.
Yeah.
Yep.
So how did you meet?
Yeah, tell us.
Please. You can't just leave me hanging on the edge of my seat.
We met through mutual acquaintances, but music wasn't the initial focus. But then slowly, as time kind of went on, Eric's always been a musician as long as I've known him, but I didn't pick up guitar until 2013.
Right.
So then when I grabbed you, and then I was trying to get Eric in on it, but he was busy touring, all over.
Oh, wow.
Up and down the East Coast.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no. So how? What do we want to get into first? Exactly how Radio Envy knows Eric. You want to start there?
I remember you talking about Soho Down when we were first starting, and I was like, "Oh, okay, whatever." I didn't know much about Soho Down, right? And so, why don't you tell us a little bit about how Soho Down started? Like, where did that? I know that you're one of the founding members.
At this point, I probably am one of the remaining founding members.
All right.
Yeah.
So how did it all start?
Oh, man. How far back did you say you want to go?
As far as you want.
Well, I was in a band before I knew Brian. I was in different bands, and one of them was like my own band, where I was like the front guy singing, and I had different musicians played around me. Mm-hmm. And then I did different projects, and I was good friends with my pedal steel player, who he went off, did some stuff, and then I was doing different things. I went into some rock music, and then I had twins, and I kind of took a break.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then I'm just driving down the road one day, and he calls me, and he's like, "Hey, it's Richard." And I'm like, "Oh, man, what's going on? I haven't talked to him forever." He's like, yeah. Catch up a few minutes. And then he's like, "Well, what are you doing?" And I go, "What do you mean, what am I doing? I'm driving." He's like, "Oh, I mean, like, are you playing? Are you doing anything?" And I said, No, not really. And he says, "Because I've got this project, this group, and we really need a guitar player. It's a couple girls, and they really harmonize well, and I think you'd be the perfect fit for us, And I said, "Okay, yeah, I'll think about it." And not long. I said, "Sure, I'll come out and check it out." So that's kind of how I got introduced into it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There's a whole lot of other things that have changed since then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But including one of the girls, we still have the two girls. At one point, we had three girls because the two girls, each one of them became my wife.
Okay.
And so she had a child, or we had a child, and then we needed someone to cover, so we ended up getting this other girl to sub for us for a while, and then our other girl got pregnant, married, and she needed the time off.
Yeah.
So we kept the other girl. So then it was like, well, for like a short period, we had 3.
Yeah.
So,
So
3
you
girl
and
singers.
the band, where did the name Soho Down come from? Like, why did the band was
we
already
always try to
established, right?
figure that out. We're
Yeah.
still trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It originally came from my wife now and her friend who started the project with the band. And they were just throwing around different things. I think this is how the story somewhat goes. And they're like, oh, the Soho District or something, and then Ho Down or something like that. And then
okay.
it kind of gravitated into Soho Down. And
Yeah.
so that was already there when I came on board.
I dig
Okay.
it. That's a good name. It's tough picking a name.
It is really hard to pick a
Yeah.
name.
Tim and I went through, 25 different names.
Yeah.
And finally settled on Radio NV. But even when you're picking the name, you're not quite sure if it's like the one.
Right.
I did that
it's-
once with a solo thing. I was trying to use
Oh, really?
a moniker. Yeah.
Weird.
Do you remember what it was?
Of
course he remembers what it is.
Bacon, wasn't it something Andrew or something?
I think it
Andrew
had something that it
Fox?
was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andrew Box.
something
Yeah.
Fox.
What was it?
Foxes.
Box?
Yeah, box like a square like
Oh.
this. Yeah.
Interesting. Why'd you go with that? Anyway,
'cause I'm
that's for another
stupid.
interview. Anyway, go ahead.
But nobody
I mean,
can
I think
remember it.
I think names are only cool if they like stick around for a little while.
Yeah.
become cool. Because if you think about a lot of acts out there that like that's a really bad name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's stuck in everyone's head.
Well, ours was misspelled for the first few shows that we had because instead of the letter N and V, they would do ENVY. And we were like, we'll just go with it. They booked us. We have a gig. We're happy with it. We'll go with it.
Yep.
So one of my first projects was, like I said, I was doing most of the fronting. So it ended up being Eric Shaw.
Yeah.
And then it was like, and the Chosen Few, because I had 3 people behind me.
Okay.
And we would pick them, who's playing with us.
That's
That
cool.
kind of thing.
That is cool.
So that's what was one of those projects. But then when I quit doing that and I ended up going into the rock field, I joined this band and they didn't really have a name. So we had to come up with like this whole name thing. Well, I had a buddy. I don't know if you ever met Brandon.
Maybe.
Yeah, but he's kind of a
Was he the one during Halloween that he wore the trench coat?
yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Well, he's a character. Turd nugget. He's a character, right? So I just call him up and I go, "Hey, I joined this rock band, play guitar, and we don't have a name." And he just throws out like 10.
Wow.
And I'm like, he's like, he says one of them was Gravy Train, and,
Yeah.
Okay.
and one of them he's like Sucker Punch, and then he's like Kid Chameleon. And he's like throwing out all these names. I'm like, dude, I'll take them to the guys, see what they think. So I ended up going. They ended up picking Sucker Punch. So
That's great.
I played in that band for like 5-6 years.
I mean, it's better than Plunger. I mean,
Hey, man, if I was ever to front a band, the band would be called Shake and Bacon.
That's a good one.
Yeah. And I would be like the band would be named first, and I'd be Bacon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's pretty tight.
And then
I get it.
people would come give you a hug and go, "Ooh."
Yeah. Because
they'd say, "What's shaking, Bacon?"
Now, Sucker Punch, was that more of a rock band versus country?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cover songs? Or?
Yeah, I was going to say.
We had like 2 or 3 originals that were really pretty good. I joined that. I tried out for that band, and they had a really good singer and bass player that had good vocal harmonies together. And they had written some songs, and those were those 3 that when we would perform them, but mostly we did like the DC 101 cover rock.
Yeah, that's cool. So Soho Down, you've got a lot of band members.
Yeah. See, I was trying to tell you that, Brian.
I know.
And so, like, I know with us, it's just the 3 of us, right? And, we all have personalities. And, the lucky thing for us is
no,
we all
don't.
we all mesh very well together. But when you add more and more members to the band, how hard is that to corral together?
Scheduling, personalities.
Yeah.
That whole dynamic it's a really interesting story how that all came about. But, and then we also had, when you put females and males together in a band, there's a different dynamic with that.
Sure.
Yep.
So we've been pretty lucky, I already had a bonding element with the pedal steel player when I came aboard, and then we ended up getting a drummer that I knew from someone else to replace that drummer, and I already had a rapport with him. And then when we needed another guitar player, I went and called my old guitar player that used to play with the Chosen Few and me. And so I already had this kind of bring it like you guys did. You're all like you.
Yeah.
How long did you know Brian? You were friends before you did this band. So if you can do that, then you kind of know what you're getting yourself into. You can bring in those people and try them out, and then you're like, personalities clash or whatever.
Yeah. It's like the 7s and 10s that
I was
Matty D
just
talked
thinking
about.
that.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that. Yeah.
Now, do you guys, some venues have more and less space, right? For more band members or less band members. Do you guys ever get to a point where you're like, well, this place only really has enough room for 4 people in the band, and you like show of hands, like who wants to come out and sing? Or
usually if they have that kind of space, they only have that kind of resources to pay that many people.
Sure. Right.
So it's kind of like if we take that spot, then we're like, we don't need to bring our fiddle player.
Yeah.
She's busy with stuff too anyways. So sometimes she can't make every show, but so we do stuff like that.
yeah.
And how much adjustment then goes into, okay, if she's not there, we now need to change up the set list.
Who does the fiddle solo?
Yeah. Well, the good news is that we used to cover the fiddle solos before she came.
Okay.
So we can still pull it off. As far as there's a couple songs like a Charlie Daniels or something that you're like, maybe we're not covering that. So we probably drop maybe 3 songs out of 40.
Yeah.
If she's not going to show up.
Yeah.
But we have others to slip in there.
Yeah.
Other songs.
I dig it. Do you change your set list frequently? Have you kind of been playing a lot of the same songs for a while? Because we haven't changed our set list in probably the last year or two now.
Yeah.
We kind of hit a
least a
moment
year, yeah.
because every practice we had, we would flip the rotation of like either the order in which we played the songs, or we would be adding new songs. And now we just kind of got to this point where we've got like 40 or 50 songs, and we just pick the ones that we feel like playing at that time, but we haven't really changed the set list in a while.
So my old steel player was in this band originally that brought me into it. And it got to the point where he also played, he didn't play steel he played electric guitar too. But it got to the point where he literally had a patch for his guitar, 40-something songs.
Wow.
Right down the line. So he wanted the set list to be
consistency.
exactly the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to have a set list that was changed every show to make it fresh.
Yeah.
I wanted to
Or
also
if you're feeling the vibe, to
have the
shift gear.
flexibility
Yeah.
to shift gears, and that kind of was part of the reason that he ended up not sticking around.
Yeah.
Sure.
So at this point, though, we did for a while start to just put a show together, call it this is the show for 2023. This is what we do. And will we pop a couple songs in and out because fiddle player didn't show up or she's not making it or it's too small of a place? Yeah. Would we look at the crowd, and I still try to read that vibe and go, skip this one.
Yeah.
They want something else.
Yeah.
Whether it's slow or fast, whatever.
Sure.
How often do you all get a chance to practice?
We're now practicing. We try to practice every other week.
Okay.
We were practicing every week, but it was lives were getting in the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot to coordinate, man. And where do you guys practice? Do you rent a space, or you guys pop into somebody's basement?
I have a basement.
I know you
Nice.
do. Yeah.
You could have answered that question first.
For 8 people with all that equipment. And actually, I do have a question about your basement. You still got the same carpet?
Of course.
Yeah, you do.
And the same poles and the same
I love that
platforms.
basement.
And the bar.
He's got this it's like a cartoon print, right, of these pole dancers on the floor.
It's not a cartoon print.
Isn't it? It's like a pinup girl.
It's straight out of the strip club.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I went to the strip club
And you're like, I want that
years
carpet.
ago, and I'm like, you all remodeled? And they go, yeah. And I go, this carpet's really cool. And they said, oh, yeah. I said, do you have any left? They said there's some scraps out back.
Yeah.
So I went and grabbed some scraps, and I had my carpet guys slot that stuff in.
It's so awesome. It's so great. He's got the party basement.
That's awesome.
We should have a show down there.
We should.
We should do like a private party.
That'd be fun.
Have you
bring the
guys come
camera.
play?
Heck yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
For sure.
Done.
That would be so much fun.
I'll hire a
Great
bartender.
backyard.
Done.
He's got a huge backyard that everybody can just go out there and hang
It's
out
like
and
a
relax.
flowing in and out
Nice.
from the stage thing. You
All
guys
right.
should definitely
Yeah.
come
All
down.
right. Sign it up. Let's
Pick
do
a
it.
date. Pick a date.
I love
Let's
it.
do it.
All right.
That'd be
We'll
awesome.
do it. We'll do like a collaboration.
Yeah.
That'd be fantastic. We can like rotate, we each get in on each other's songs and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be fun. I could play a drum set. Mm-hmm. That would be fun.
No,
Kid
they
in the
already
candy
have a
store.
drummer.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry.
No,
Becky.
we want you on the set. I want to see you on the set.
Womp, womp, womp. Go ahead and hit it.
So I know that you've Soho Down's put out a couple EPs,
Yeah.
right? So let's go back to the first one. So that was back in 2015.
You know better than me right now.
There you go.
There you go. Research.
Yeah. Take me through that process. What was the writing like? How?
There's people, in my opinion, that are better at that than others.
Okay.
Yes.
Than putting that together
Yes.
and then hearing it, basically. So, initially we tried the whole, hey, here's what we're listening, here's what we think we're hearing on the drums, or here's what we think we're hearing on the bass, and here's my acoustic version of that. What do you think? What do you think? And that's challenging, And so eventually we ended up going to Nashville and just getting session musicians to put their parts in. So those are the guys you can say, this is what I hear.
Yeah.
And they can go, okay,
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're hearing.
Yeah.
Instead of,
Trying to figure
the
it
guy
out.
here who's like, I'm still thinking about work and you're asking me to think about doing what you're telling me and I'm, can't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's challenging.
Yeah.
What made you pick Nashville?
Well, I've got a good buddy who I grew up with who actually ended up taking his career a little bit and getting a album release and stuff like that. So I was talking, and he's got a studio, and so we started going down to him and doing studio stuff, and as we're doing it, he's like, well, we got to hire these guys. He's like, the local guys, only so good. He knew better at one point. He run sound for Hall & Oates,
Okay.
Leroy Parnell. He was got the position to be a drummer for Billy Idol.
Wow.
But he had to turn that down because he had a family issue come up.
Yeah.
He said, "You guys you should go down here. I got some people you can hook up with and get it done right."
That's
That's kind of how that ended up.
Okay.
And how did you, for specifically the EP that Tim mentioned, did you guys knock it out in a day, a weekend? Yeah.
And 2 days.
Wow.
A day for the music, a day for the vocals.
Yeah.
wow.
Well, and how exciting was it that most of those songs on that EP received a lot of attention?
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got some accolades on the songwriting, NSA Songwriting Association kind of like these guys you should watch out for kind of thing. When we submitted
That's
that
awesome.
stuff.
Yeah.
The ones to watch list is
Yeah.
what we got put on.
Yeah.
Very cool.
But
I got to say, the harmonies is one of the things
yeah.
that was one of my big takeaways of watching you all live. Was just I was blown away. So I assume it's all worked out in the practices and stuff, but if you're rotating people in and out, I mean, just the harmonies are so on point every time. I'm just super impressed. How did that happen?
well, I've heard your harmonies. They're pretty damn good.
Shucks. I had to say all that just to get a compliment. Did you hear that, Bacon?
I knew where you were driving. I knew.
No, but it's very impressive.
Well, the way that worked out is kind of unique because the first two girls that started the band, my wife Jen and her friend from high school, they automatically had these nice harmonies together, right? Kind of like you and Brian, I guess.
It's a high school thing.
Growing up together,
Or the dude version.
So they already had that, and it's like that was kind of the magic of like you said, that's the special thing that you got there. And then, so it's like when we get rid of the one girl, how do you replace that? How do you get one to roll right back in?
Yeah.
Luckily, we did.
Yeah.
And, she's just as good and just as blended, like how it works. It was just kind of, they got talent on that,
No, they are.
Especially the Jessie, who, my wife's Jen, and she was originally in there, and her friend Kelly, and they had a special harmony blend that when I brought out my friend Chris Salomon Studios, and he came out there and he goes, "Are they sisters?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, "No." He's like, "Oh." And people still think that like Jen and Jessie are sisters.
Yeah.
Right.
Because of how tight they can be.
Like the Judds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
good.
So that there's really, it's nothing we do in practice per se. It's just the caliber of them feeling each other and performing with each other.
Now, are there different, Soho Down kind of does like that Southern rock, but are there other influences or are there other, I'm trying to make a comparison. So Radio Envy, our set list is super diverse because we each kind of had our own backgrounds of music that we've liked growing up, and then we kind of blend them together either with the original stuff or the covers that we pick. Do you guys ever go outside the box as Soho Down?
Well, yeah. They want to go outside the box more than I let them sometimes. Yeah, we've done everything from Meghan Trainor to Led Zeppelin, to all the country stuff in between, and I just try to help groom like what's a good song that
sounds good for the band,
that the audiences that we can do well, that the audience is going to work with.
Yeah.
What do you find is more popular for people these days? Is it the pop stuff, or is the country really what kind of makes?
You know what's funny is you bring that up, and that was something that was on my mind when you said about changing the set list. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, I kind of groom our set list to the venue, to the event. Mm-hmm. It's like, what do they want? What are you thinking they're going to want? And then you might get there and realize, oh no,
you read
this is
it wrong.
A classic rock crowd.
Yeah.
We got this all wrong. And so that's where we'll make some moves in between a break or something. But on any given night, I've seen like success in one genre, and then a dud the next venue. It's like, oh, that thing didn't go over near as well as it did at the last venue.
Right. Yeah. We've been there.
Yeah, I know. And that's why I think rotate our set list so much is it live. Like we just have the same printout. I'll go, Tim, what's your top 3? And kind of work our way around.
And then by the third set, Brian passes it around the audience, and they select the stuff that we haven't done in forever.
Yeah.
And we look at each other.
We're bottom of the list.
Well, thanks, Brian.
Yeah.
Well, here's Wonderwall.
Here's Jack and Diane.
Yeah, right. Here's Jack and Diane.
So we run into this sometimes, and of course, you got to kind of read the audience, but where we're kind of playing less and less original music and more on the cover side. So for you all, I know you have a good amount of original content. How do you figure out where to kind of blend that in with the rest of the set list?
I go off my gut.
Yeah.
I do a lot of off my gut. Like, what do I think, and what's the idea here that we're trying to get across, and where are we at? You know? And I try to maintain at least a few of them in there, so you can have your identity and not just be a mobile jukebox or whatever. So that's really how I do it. It's what are we doing? Are we doing like an hour showcase at Prince William County Fair or something? Okay, we're gonna probably go 70-30, of the originals, or maybe 50-50. Depends on what I'm looking at when I show up there, and I go, let's go with this one instead of that one.
Tim used to curate our set list based off of, because he plays the tambourine. So he's like, so I'm on the tambourine for these 2 songs, and then I play guitar, and then I play guitar for like 4 songs, and then I'm back to the tambourine.
And then the bongos, and back before bacon.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when I would call audibles, Tim would be like, yeah, but I'm just putting the guitar up and down and up and down. And
Okay.
Yeah, and then it got to a point where I just gave him a look like, really? Like, I don't have to say anything. Like, it's just like,
Yeah.
And he knows, and he'll just giggle because he thinks it's funny.
I'm ADHD, and I'm like, I'm hot to trot on this one song that's in my brain. I was like, I gotta get it out. Yeah, and I'm like, just put the guitar down, and then you'll pick it back up later.
Yeah.
I have no sympathy for you, Tim. You're talking about picking up a tambourine
I know.
or acoustic.
I know.
I have to jump between banjo, mandolin, and guitar.
Oh, man.
And that's a bigger.
Yeah.
It's like, and if who's kicking it off?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
if the banjo's kicking it off, I've got to make sure that the song before the banjo kicks it off is a banjo song,
Right. So
that I can
the seamless
blend into that
transition.
and get somewhat seamless. You know,
Yeah.
So what came first? The banjo, the mandolin, or the guitar?
guitar.
Yeah.
And then what came after
Banjo.
that? And how did you get into that?
So
that's not the same instrument.
No.
No. So the guitar was first, and then they came out with that six string banjo. Mm-hmm. Actually, prior to that, my dad started trying to learn banjo, and I watched him play with the banjo and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I love the banjo. Who doesn't love all these instruments?
Yeah.
You know. So I break out the 6-string banjo, which is the gitjo or whatever. It's a guitar tuned up thing, right?
Sure.
And immediately, my steel player's like, "That's not a real banjo." I'm like, "Yeah, but it kind of sounds like a banjo."
You're no Steve Martin.
And we're doing some Dixie Chicks, so why shouldn't we sound a little bit like a banjo?
Right.
So based on that, and my dad left the banjo for me, I said I should learn how to freaking play the banjo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I started playing the banjo.
Do you do it with the independent picks too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the guitar player that I brought on when we needed another guitar player after gravitating was a guy I used to play with a long time ago. And he was talking about playing mandolin, and he picked up the mandolin and started doing a few songs with us on mandolin. Mm-hmm. Well, then when he left, I'm like, I'm going to take over that.
Yeah.
So that's what lent itself to pick up the mandolin.
Yeah.
Which I'm not like proficient on anything. You know, I fake a lot of stuff.
What do they say? A jack of all trades, master of
That's
none.
there. That's yeah.
I take offense.
You should.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. The only instrument I haven't picked up is the
What, the banjo? No, the tambourine.
Tambourine.
Yeah.
tambourine. That's the only one I have. And I'm not going to even try.
Yeah.
Because you're great at it.
Oh, thank you. Shucks. I kind of like where this interview's going.
Yeah.
I'm 2 for 2 on compliments.
It's, I think it's just in his blood. If you've seen him jump off the stage and just shake it around everybody, yeah, it's.
Or if you saw me the first time Brian said, play this, and it was the tambourine, I was like, I don't know. He was like, dude, can you just figure it out? Like, he was like, you shake it and you hit it. That's it.
It's a very important instrument.
Well, I didn't. I was
And
like,
it's not as easy as just shaking and hitting
it's
either.
not.
No, but
it's
he
got
made-
its own complexities.
he has tough love over there.
Little
So
bit.
that's what he,
So when did you start playing guitar? Like, how old were you?
I was in my 20s.
In your 20s? Okay.
Yeah. I ended up getting into a house with some roommates, and a couple of them played.
Nice.
And I was just honestly, what actually got me into performing, playing music in that way, they would play guitar around, and ended up, picking it up around 24, 23, 24 years old.
Okay.
What got you into bands?
So that's
Like,
what kind of got the whole thing going. Was,
Yeah.
So I was just going out, and at that time they had a really good country scene going on in Alexandria and that whole area, and I was going out there and just clubbing with my friends, and it was a country thing, and it's like, put your cowboy hat and your boots on and go out there and try to pick up on women.
Yep.
You know?
Boot, scoot, and boogie.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I was going out there, and I ended up making friends with this one band that I liked, and they're like, oh, we're having an open mic night, or kind of like on Sunday nights or whatever.
Okay.
So I'm like, my friend dares me to get up there
Hell yeah.
and sing a song or whatever. I said,
It's a good friend.
yeah, he was. I thank him to this day.
Yeah.
So I did, and had told everybody he's going to do it. He's going to do it. So I did it, and I guess I did well enough that they kind of said, "Hey, you should keep doing it." And I'm like, I would want to keep doing it.
Yeah.
So
how much are you going to pay me?
it kept
Yeah.
going,
To
it kept
keep doing
going to
it.
there. And then it was like, I just don't want to get up. The next time I'm like, I just don't want to get up and stand there and hold a mic. I need to learn some chords. I need to go for, and so it kind of built from there.
There you go.
What song did you do for the open mic?
Ooh, I did a Keith Whitley song called "Quitting Time,"
Okay.
and I did a Travis Tritt "Here's a Quarter."
Okay.
Nice.
I love them
Called
both.
Someone Who Cares. You
Yep.
know those?
Yeah, I know them both. Yeah.
Not many people know the Keith
Yeah.
Whitley.
Yep.
Are you a country guy?
I am.
He
Big time
is the
country guy.
guy.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, Tim's got a brain like an elephant. Just a steel trap in there.
Yep.
Do you have any pre-show rituals? Like Tim and I used to have this thing.
Just one.
Just one. Well,
We had a lot.
We did have a lot, but one was like a drink before the show, or we'd do a shot or something. Do you guys do anything?
I don't. We don't. I used to. Back in the older bands, we would do the whole come together like you're a soccer team or baseball team and do the whole 1, 2, 3.
Sucker punch on 3. 1, 2, 3. Sucker punch in your face. Let's go.
Yeah, chosen few on 3. You know, but no, I don't anymore.
No.
No,
You just get up there and do it just because you were born to do it.
I might have a drink for myself,
Sure. Yeah.
but
Well, what's your go-to
not
drink
'cause
when
I'm
you're
born
playing?
to do it.
What's your go-to drink when you're playing?
Oh,
Or afterwards?
well, I drink beer and I drink Corona and Jack and Coke.
Okay.
So depending on my mood,
Yeah.
I might need to pick me up.
Sure.
A little bit of Coca-Cola for that caffeine.
Yeah, there you go.
I do remember a story where a show where I had some friends come out from high school, and they were so excited to come out, and I think it might have been her birthday or something. But one of my friends, she kept bringing me up drinks and drinks, and we tried a video every show to look back and go, okay,
That was good. That was bad.
Yeah, how that's like was there
Where did it
people-
go wrong?
Somebody got too drunk.
Was there people on the dance floor for that song, or
Yeah.
was it a dud,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
all that stuff that you can't necessarily remember the next day?
Yeah,
Sure.
Or you're in the moment because you're
Yeah.
like thinking of too many things. You're not paying attention to all that periphery
Yeah.
stuff.
I personally drank almost everything they came up to
Yeah.
party with me.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
That was a bad recording.
next time put 2 straws in it.
Yeah.
We've all had those nights.
So that was literally a turning point to
Yeah.
like how much you should indulge,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And so anyway,
So your brother still plays, right?
yeah, he actually came on when my one guitar player left. He actually wanted to fill the slot, and he came on for like a year.
Oh, nice.
And then I thought that was going to be great. But he's not as country as you.
Okay. Sure.
And so,
I'm a little more country than that. Is what
yeah,
you're
he's
saying.
a little more rock and roll. That's probably not
Except
hitting our
I'm
crowd,
Donnie,
maybe.
he's Marie. Okay. Let's not get it twisted.
That's the third reference to Donnie and Marie on this podcast.
Thank you.
I know. Still, don't look them up.
Yeah, please
No,
no.
yeah, please don't.
So, yeah, he eventually said, yeah, it's not the same. You know?
Yeah.
So he's recently, with the coercion of me and my drummer, joined a band that kind of does a little more of that stuff.
What bands or musicians or songwriters inspired you when you were learning how to play the guitar? Influences.
I lean country, but me and my friend would joke about the fact that in high school we had tickets in the same week, one for Merle Haggard and one for Judas Priest.
That's awesome.
Good shows.
Great.
That was great, you know. So just like I said, I lean towards the country. So like Merle Haggard and Hank Jr. and you know all the old guys, Waylon Jennings. That's kind of the stuff that I kind of love. That stuff. It's in my core from what my family brought me up with. But I like the newer country stuff too. You know.
Ooh, let's play a game.
Oh, okay.
We can cut this out if it gets too controversial. But how do you feel about Florida Georgia Line? Bands like that.
Bro country? Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to quote my cousin in a Facebook post. He says, he puts up a picture of Florida Georgia Line and a picture of George Jones. And he said, if you know who they are and you don't know who he is, you're not my friend.
That's a good comparison.
Yeah. How about? Oh man.
Oh boy.
what's the Australian guy's name?
Keith Urban.
Keith Urban.
I like him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a great talent.
In My Car is a great tune. I'm not a big country guy, but Keith Urban, In My Car is a great tune. Yeah.
We used to do one of his. Blue Ain't Your Color.
We still do that one.
We
don't
still
we?
do that one.
Yeah, we still do that
We
one.
haven't done it in a while.
I don't know.
We do that one. Yeah.
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 It's a good tune. I have no issue with Keith Urban.
I'm a big fan. I've seen him in concert multiple times. Great performer. My first song with Lindsay at our wedding was a Keith Urban song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I must have been drunk.
Well,
I
did you
think
ever hear?
probably were.
I probably wasn't invited.
I didn't
Did you know Keith
then. I didn't know you. It's 2010.
God,
Man.
it's all about him, isn't
I
it?
know. He kind of took a couple sucker punches earlier, so he's looking for a little help.
I am looking for a little help, Tim. Come on.
Well, did you know Keith Urban's first band, The Ranch?
No.
Get that album.
Really?
Really?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
That's probably some of his best work.
Really?
Okay.
Okay.
And that's where I became a fan. Like I got into that album, The Ranch. That was his band, 3-piece. His bass player still tours with him
Oh,
as bass player and vocal backup.
very cool.
So yeah,
Who would you say was one of your biggest supporters when? Because you were talking about your parents not being too thrilled about the music. So who kind of spoke those words of encouragement to you?
I don't know that anyone did.
No.
I think I had to scratch and claw my way to acceptance.
But you obviously also had like an internal passion, desire to express yourself through music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think probably the biggest motivator was when my mom said, I don't think you can do this. I don't think you should do this. And I said, okay.
Isn't it the
enough.
haters?
Yeah.
Not that she's a hater, but isn't it that
Yeah.
kind of thing
Now
where
she's
it's like,
one
oh,
of
I
my
can do
biggest
it.
fans.
Yeah.
She's still honest as hell.
It's nice to have that.
That's
though.
a good mom.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
She still says, not so good tonight.
Like, Mom, I know. All right. God.
I
I've
knew
heard
before you
better.
knew.
I'm not that good at the mandolin yet, okay?
Yeah, right. Right.
I just picked it up yesterday.
That little guitar didn't sound that great.
You know your banjo has 6 strings?
It's not a real banjo.
It used to have 6 strings. It's got 5 now, 10.
Oh, okay. Oh, because you broke one of them? I do it all the time. It's okay.
yeah, it just never fixed it.
It's okay.
That was a Courtney question, by the way.
Which one?
The biggest supporter, cheerleader.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's cute.
yeah.
Yeah.
She's got a few kind of in here because I talked to her about it earlier today.
Okay.
She popped a few into the this or that too. So yeah,
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah,
So a lot of times when we're playing on stage, either something happens in the crowd that really kind of cracks us up because, people drink and whatever.
Get silly.
Or we do something funny. So tell us a story about something funny that's happened either out in the crowd where somebody's falling off chairs or somebody's
having to be carried out.
Correct. Or, something happens on stage. Because a lot of times, like with us, we'll just kind of give a look and a giggle and we're good. So tell us, a funny story.
Well, I got some good ones.
All right, good.
Oh, right.
How many do you want?
As many as you want. Let's do it.
Dish.
So one of my first putting my band together back when I first started out, I ended up like I said, my roommates were playing instruments, and one of them was doing really well. He was in a band called the Collier Boys, and they actually ended up playing the Capitol Center, which is no longer existent, but they won a Battle of the Bands, Marlboro music concert and stuff. And they were like 2 cousins, 2 brothers. They had a really good harmony mix, and so somehow we were friends, and he took a liking to me, and he was one of my chosen few.
Nice.
And so we booked this 4th of July party, and he put the whole band together. Well, first out, we're gonna practice in my basement, and so all these guys come over, and I was a kid at this point. I'm like, what I thought was a kid is 23, 24 years old.
Yeah.
And here comes some 30-year-old plus guys that are seasoned, and they're like, come on down, set up, whatever. And so we kick off the first song, and they start rocking. And the 2 guitar players, I'm this acoustic guy in the center, 2 guitar players go left and right, and they cross into each other. They bang, and they fall back. They knock over the drum kit. It's a complete disaster.
Oh my God!
And we're like a quarter way through the first song, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? And they're like, okay, let's start over. Right? Regroup. That's okay. Yeah, I'm like, you guys are too. I was just like, whatever. So we were working up for this party. So we did our practices and we go to this party and it's up on the cliffs of the Potomac River and big mansion. And we weren't the only band. We were going to be the first band. So we put together our 10 or 12 songs, and then there were going to be other bands after us. So we went up there, and we killed it. We did great.
Nice.
And they're like, and, get off stage, and everybody's like, oh, my God, you guys were great. You guys got to get back up. I said, Jerry, they're asking us to get back up. We should get back up. He goes, we came and did what we needed to. Mm-hmm. We're not doing it anymore.
That sounds like
right.
me.
He said, we're leaving with a good impression.
Yeah.
Right? It was 4th of July. We were having fun.
Yeah.
Some drinks were going around.
I'm sure.
Hour and a half later, Jerry comes up. Come on, we're getting back up.
I was waiting for it. He's got the itch.
So we get back up there, and we only knew like 15 songs, and we did 12. So at least I only knew 15 songs at the time. So Jerry kicks into a Bad Company tune, and he starts going, and we're like, I'm like, I don't know how to play this song. So I'm just kind of like up there faking it.
Yeah.
Because they were, I wasn't the only singer, but I was the majority of the 12 songs that we did. And so they started doing it. And then Jerry looks back and he starts motioning the drummer's dragging. The drummer's dragging. And the drummer starts cussing him out, going, no, I'm not. And the next thing you know, guitar comes off. Jerry's jumping over the drum set. There's a freaking fist fight going on.
I swear to God, I've seen this video as a reel.
It was literally like, are you kidding me? It was like, I walked away with my like guitar and like my head kind of down, like, and then there's like,
we're done.
Breaking up the fight and all that. I'm like, Jerry, later I'm like, what happened to let's not get back up?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. We should have ended on a high note.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Should have.
Oh my God.
That's what the goal was, but
All right, where are we at? You want to do the thisy or thatty?
Yes.
Yeah, let's kick that
do
off.
it.
Let's do it.
It's this or that.
This or that. I love these.
This or that.
We practice this, guys.
I think you need tambourine.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
I need something. All right. Water skiing or wakeboarding?
Wakeboarding.
Okay. And why?
These are easy questions.
No,
you
that's
know
just
me.
the first
you
one.
Know me.
I know you.
Wait, what's wakeboarding?
So
Exactly.
wakeboarding with the board. And then
I mean, I
water
understand
skiing.
there's a board involved.
Snowboarding on the
Answer
water.
the question.
Snowboarding on the water.
or 4x6?
It's like skiing or snowboarding.
Snowboarding on the water.
Okay.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
So wakeboarding. Yeah.
Yeah. You know that.
I know.
You already know that.
I know.
That's a bad
I
question.
know. Macaroni and cheese or barbecue baked beans?
Barbecue baked beans.
Nice.
I'm with you on
Country boy. All right. Concrete jungle or actual jungle?
Well, the actual jungle.
Really?
Yeah.
You think so? With all the bugs and the
What the
humidity?
hell's a
and
concrete
the,
jungle anyway?
kind of like the city.
Yeah, no, hell no.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Regular jungle.
Oh.
Fair enough.
Beaten by a silverback gorilla.
He wants to live when the
beaten
green
for
grass
your
grows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. This one's a little oddly specific, but I'll see if you can kind of pick up on it. Ferrari 380 GTS or GMC K1500.
GMC.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I was either going Magnum PI
Well, it depends.
or
Can I sell them? Because
Yeah.
maybe I'll get the Ferrari. I already got a GMC. Okay. So,
Is the next one going to be shag carpet or strip club carpet?
yeah.
We all know the
Already
answer to that.
donut or donut hole.
I don't know how you compare those two.
I don't know either.
I like how you had to do like the finger motion.
yeah.
Well, because it's a
And like-
donut hole, but it's not a hole. It's a like turd nugget.
I mean, you eat the donut hole? Is that what you're saying? It's
Yeah.
like, would you prefer to eat a donut or the center that's cut out of a donut?
Yes. Yes, that is the question.
Yeah, I'll take the center cut out.
You can eat more of those in different flavors.
Indeed. Look at
worth
that.
Yeah, what about
Bacon,
cream
the-
filled
the
or
donut
jelly
hole
filled? Or
connoisseur.
I'm not a.
All right, so I got got 2 from Courtney.
Here we go.
So think of this in terms of a musician, but also a guitar player. Her this or that was ears or hands. Like if you had,
Are we talking about?
if you had to lose one, ears or hands. Your sense of hearing,
Just one or both?
I know, right? I don't know. I was specifically told ears or hands.
I think you have to decide: are we losing both hands or both ears? Because that's a complete loss in different areas.
Yeah.
Like one ear, one hand.
Yeah.
Well, look, it's like this. You have to have your hands so you can like feed yourself and different things.
Yeah.
So if it's like both, then I'd have to go without ears. Go off vibes and feel and percussions, and I'd get to be the drummer I used to want to be.
Nice. There you go.
Taking you back to your roots.
And just because you lose your ears doesn't mean you lose your hearing, because your hearing is inside your head, your ears are outside your head. So.
True that.
No. Breaking news.
Talk to
Breaking
Evander
news.
Holyfield about that.
Breaking news. God damn it.
Breaking news. Why did I get breaking news?
For the
Freaking
record,
bacon with
for
the internal
record,
medicine.
I wanted to get this one. And this has been not exciting,
That's good.
but I couldn't find it.
Yeah, you weren't
Anyway.
sure.
Thank you to Eric Shaw for a great show today.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers, boys. Thank you.
Cheers. And
This podcast was produced by Bacon Wave Podcast Production in association with Revelry Media Productions. Michael Bacon engineered this podcast. Video provided by Brian Johnson. Snackies provided by Timmy C himself. That's right. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with your friends and even your family or anybody, I guess, please. To get in touch with us, send us feedback at podcastnv.com. Follow us on Instagram at podcastRNV and on TikTok at podcast.nv. Visit our website at podcastnv.com. We'll see you soon, baby.